Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Player Zone YouTube channel. It is Champions League final time. It is just around the corner, and I've been dying to make this prediction video. We are here to predict the Champions League final between Paris Saint-Germain and Inter Milan. What a game we have in our hands here. As I've said in my combined 11 video I released just over a day ago, for me, probably two of the three best teams in world football this season. Obviously, Barcelona are a top-tier side, but Inter Milan deserve to be here, being probably the most consistent side across the last 3 seasons, and are going to another Champions League final, looking for some vengeance for that final against Man City a few years back. Obviously, Paris Saint-Germain looking to make some history, win the side's first Champions League, and it's not going to be easy. Maybe people may think PSG coming to this game as the side that should win the game, or the superior side, but Inter Milan are a sleeping giant. They play some great football, not given the respect they rightly deserve, I think. I've made countless videos, talked countlessly on the podcast about how good they are, so I'm very, very keen to see how this one plays out. We're all in Munich on Saturday night for this massive game. Let's look at PSG first. They come off the back of a dominant 3-1 aggregate score over Arsenal. Again, what I saw was picking your moments, pouncing on some poor defensive display from Arsenal away from home. Then at home, controlling the game, keeping control. When you had your moments, you take your moments. Ball dominance in the midfield areas, denying Arsenal possession. That's what they did so well. I think what has really stood out to me about PSG in this knockout stage is the way they've managed moments. I think a PSG side of the last few seasons have seen immature. They've seen like they've given the ball away or lost focus and control in key moments of a game. What this PSG side this season has done is when their back's against the wall, they're fine to sit in. They're fine to keep the ball and play it sideways. But when they're on top and they sense a moment in the game, they'll go and pounce. When they feel like they've got the momentum, got the confidence and the belief, they'll drive the ball forward. The midfield area does that so well, opening up spaces, playing through the lines. And then obviously that front line has been in ridiculous form this season, whether it be Desiree Doué, Khvicha Kvaratskhelia, Ousmane Dembele, Bradley Barker, the names go on and on and on. They've just been so dominant up top and clinical in the final third as well, which has really added to this great run into the final. Look, I mentioned it there. I guess the key point for me and their strength will be their midfield area, the ability to control the game, the ability to dictate the game. And we know in Champions League finals, they're often not the most exciting of games. They're often very cagey, very half chance based, where a team who takes their half chance will win the game. We saw last season Borussia Dortmund probably the better of the two sides versus Real Madrid, but Real Madrid found their opportunity, showed their class and won the game of football. So for PSG, that midfield area, the ability to dictate the game, the speed of the game, the flow of the game, how competitive and combative it is in midfield, they have that upper edge. I think this midfield trio of Vitinha, Fabian Ruiz and João Neves has absolutely owned every single team leading up to this point in time. I think they bossed the Arsenal midfield. They outplayed the Liverpool midfield. And I'll tell you what, they really battled hard with the Aston Villa midfield that was up for the occasion and made it a real great battle in there as well. And look, I said it in my combined 11 video. You probably got 6 of the best central midfielders in the world facing off in this game here. But I think I give the edge to PSG in that area of the park. I think that will be a massive turning point for this side. If they can control possession, they can make Inter Milan run like Barcelona failed to in the first half of that semi-final second leg. It'll go a long way to stretching this Inter Milan side, fatiguing them. They're the older side. There are older legs, slightly slower. If this midfield can control the pace, make them run, make them tired, there's opportunities to pounce come the second half. So I think they'll have a massive focus on that area of the park. I think the vulnerability has to be the fullbacks. As much as they're fantastic going forward, they've had some great goal contributions in this tournament so far. We saw Aston Villa do it. We saw also Liverpool try and expose at times. They can get caught quite high up the pitch. In transition, Inter Milan, we saw how they exposed Barcelona in transition. They can do the same thing to PSG. Obviously, the line is not as high as what Barcelona play, but those fullbacks get very, very high up the pitch. They're caught out a lot. I think Aston Villa, that second leg is the prime example. They can get too goal hungry, too attack focused, and they commit way too many numbers forward. They leave themselves 3-on-3 or 2-on-3 at the back, and it can be vulnerable. And we know how good Inter Milan are on the break, in transition, when they're playing in the ascendancy or the advantage in numbers. They can outplay a lot of sides. Got to be careful if you're Achraf Hakimi, if you're Nuno Mendes as well. You don't get caught out too high up the pitch if the ball turns over. So a real balance on the fullbacks will be important because that can be an area that Inter Milan will want to punish. Look, I've talked about strengths and weaknesses, but undoubtedly, as I said, the midfield holds the key for me in this game here. It holds the key in a lot of these tight games, in particular Vitinha and Fabian Ruiz, these two ball-dominant, ball-playing midfielders. Obviously, we know João Neves is the bone breaker. He wins the ball midfield. He breaks up attacks. But Fabian Ruiz is smart. It's in possession to see the pass and break apart the Inter Milan low block. Vitinha's ability in tight areas, the ability to wriggle out of spaces and then play those passes to spread the play. These two are so important. We know Inter Milan sit in deep. They'll sit with a bank of 5 with 3 in front of that. And then Lautaro and Thuram one of them will drop into midfield and make it a 4 at times. So you're basically seeing 9 players in front of you at all times. These two, Vitinha and Fabian Ruiz, have the ability to make those 9 just irrelevant with their passing ability, with their skill and precision on the football. So look to those two to be the key line breakers in this game here. Insert energy into this PSG side when Inter Milan try and make the game a real stalwart, a real slow, stagnant type game. Those two can definitely do that in the centre of the park. And then as much as they can be weaknesses, they can also be the strengths. Nuno Mendes and Achraf Hakimi from fullback, if they can provide that added width to get at Inter Milan's wing-backs, there is a real battle on show there as well. We know how good Dimarco and also how good Dumfries have been in the knockout stages. Hakimi and Nuno Mendes have been as good as well. And they give themselves a different angle to goal. They add themselves a little bit more width, potentially some overloads in wide areas that can try and undo the good work of the low block which Inter Milan will put in place. They're going to be really, really important. It's about that ability to be consistent going forward, but also tracking back, as I said earlier on. They're going to have to be switched on to the counter-attack, but they're going to also have to be there to support the wide players. Give Barcola or Doué some support with an overload. Give Kvaratskhelia the opportunity to run at defenders by making that run around the outside and taking a defender out of position, because if they don't commit high up the pitch, well, those wing backs will just gobble up the wingers for PSG. But if you get the overload, if you get the overlapping runs or the inverted runs, all of a sudden those wing backs have to defend. They have to pick a player to go with, and that's when Inter Milan can look a little bit more vulnerable. So massive games for both those two players in both areas of the park, going forward and also defensively as well. Look, for Inter Milan, a Champions League great historic game last time out, that 7-6 aggregate victory over FC Barcelona. We know their ability to suffer, their ability to sit in, absorb pressure, take the sting out of games is their undoubted strength. They've done it in so many different occasions in the last Champions League run, in this Champions League run as well. They almost look at their best when they're sitting in, when their back's against the wall, 30% possession, because they want that counter-attack. They want that ability to spring the break, win the ball back with a 50-50, and then let Lautaro go, let Thuram go, Dimarco, Dumfries will push on as well, and you've got a swarm of 5 players going out of 5 PSG players. That's what they want to play with. They want to incorporate that exact same style of football which they played against Barcelona, against this PSG side. And by no means is that their only tactic. They are fantastic in possession. I've made a whole video about it for the members, how they're a very strong side in possession. They favour the central area of the park, but when push comes to shove, those fullbacks, those wing-backs have some of their best deliveries of the ball into the box, some of the most dangerous runners in the final third. They can play with width as well. Look at the centre of the park. They're 3 fantastic midfielders, but I think they're going to get outclassed by the PSG trio in there. So they're going to have to defer to the wide spaces, defer to Dimarco. Bastoni's a fantastic player in terms of deliveries into the box as well. Countless times he's putting in dangerous balls into the area for that Inter Milan team to score. So look, those fullbacks, those wing-backs, the wide centre-halves, they're going to be contributing, not only sitting in and suffering defensively, but being those sparks on the counter-attack to try and get at PSG in transition. The weakness obviously is undoubtedly their lack of firepower sometimes in the final third. They can become very blunt, very stagnant, a very slow side. And look, Lautaro Martinez is not at 100% fitness. We know that. He's been sort of in and out, rested throughout the back end of the season, but he's so important for this side here. He inserts an energy, a firepower, which I just don't have when he's not there. And as I said, Bastoni often at times is the man to deliver balls into the box or get onto a ball at the back post. Bissek as well as one of the wide centre halves can get forward and be a danger in the box. They're not a team that scores a lot of goals. They obviously can get on a roll in games, but they're not that sharp going forward. They can be snuffed out. They can be forced out of a game. Barcelona did it in the second half, in that second leg versus Inter Milan side. They often score in bunches. We saw that in the two legs versus Barcelona. We've seen it in Serie A as well. They can go through spells of 2 or 3 games where they just struggle in front of goals. So Lautaro Martinez, it leads me on to that first important play. Lautaro Martinez is going to have to carry the load yet again, press from the front, make the continual runs in behind the back line, be that spearhead up top to lead the counter attack, because Thuram is fantastic. The midfield is fantastic, but they're going to be playing with limited possession. They're going to be playing with direct long balls to try and beat PSG in transition. And Lautaro Martinez is the spearhead of that counter attack. He's the captain of this side here. He leads the line. He is their heartbeat. I often say it. He is the litmus test for Inter Milan. When he's scoring goals, they're winning games of football. When he's fading out of games and not getting many touches, Inter Milan look like a shadow of themselves. So he has to be involved, pressing, winning that ball back, being a nuisance with runs in behind the back line, getting on the ball on the counter-attack in transition and making things happen for this Inter Milan side. So important versus Barcelona, playing with one hamstring. Can he do it yet again in a massive Champions League final? Can he change what happened a few years ago versus Manchester City and be the captain to lift the trophy this time around? He has a massive role to play in this game here. And then defensively, the 3 centre halves, it'll likely be Acerbi, Bastoni and Bissek. They have been superb this season. Undoubtedly, some of the best centre-backs in world football. Bastoni in particular, the ball-playing ability, as I said, his ability to get forward and deliver balls into the box when Inter Milan have possession, but his ability to break the play up. Acerbi's aerial dominance, and then Bissek's physicality as well. You've got a bit of everything there. The ball-playing and the duel-winning Bastoni, the physical aerial duel beast in Acerbi, and then Bissek, the physical, speedier centre-half that can cover off and prevent Inter Milan getting a counter-attack. They're 3 great centre-halves. They complement each other so well. They're going to have to be at their best yet again. They did it for 180 minutes plus versus Barcelona. They have to do it for 90 minutes, potentially 120 minutes here versus this PSG side. Stay compact, sit in deep. Absorb the pressure when you have to, but when you get the opportunity to spring the counter-attack, play those great long, direct passes out the back line, push forward and contribute to the counter-attack as well. We know these centre-halves like to do that as well. Be a threat from set pieces. The best set-piece team in world football, I believe, this season. They are a constant threat from corners and free kicks. So, look, they have a massive role in this game here, these 3 centre-halves. Obviously, number one is keeping that PSG front line very, very quiet. We know how dangerous Dembele and Doué and Kvaratskhelia can be. But number 2 is be that threat going forward. Be a goal target, because, as I said, Inter Milan are not the most free-flowing team at times, especially against these bigger sides where they like to be a bit more pragmatic. So they could be the difference makers in terms of scoring that match-winning goal. Acerbi saved Inter Milan versus Barcelona. We've seen Bissek do it multiple times across the last few seasons in the Serie A, scoring game-winning headers. We know Bastoni's delivery into the box as a left-footed, left-sided centre-half has been superb. So, look, they have massive roles to play both ends of the park. The modern game, I think it really shows that centre-halves can be as big of a threat going forward as they are defensively, but we know PSG will have likely 65+% possession. They have a massive job to keep that clean sheet for as long as possible in this game here. I cannot wait for this game. I said it in the Combined 11 video, and I'll say it here again in the prediction video. We've got 2 teams that everyone loves watching. PSG, the free-flowing younger side with a great spark and attacking football and a willingness to go forward and drive forward and commit numbers and attack freely and continue to go. People rate them as the best team in Europe. Some say Barcelona. At times I say Inter Milan. I like to be a bit different like that. I like to be a bit niche in that way, but I love watching what Inter Milan do as well. Again, they have multiple sides of their game. They can play possession. They can play counter-attack. They can play park the bus. Look, they've got so many different facets to their game. Inzaghi's one of the best coaches in world football. We know how good Enrique is as well. So you've got the ultimate matchup. I think you couldn't have asked for much better of a Champions League final than these 2 sides here. A bit of fire versus ice in terms of the fiery attack of PSG versus the cool, calm, icy cold, defensive, pragmatic unit that Inter Milan have. You're going to get those ebbs and flows in this game here. I think it'll be a classic cup final. The fact that I expect PSG to start well. First 20 minutes, a lot of possession, not many chances, but as the game grows deeper, more and more possession for Inter Milan. The older heads take control of the game. They start owning the wide spaces and they might get that counter-attack goal. I think, for me, I said it in the Combined 11 video, the team who scores first for me probably wins this game of football. I think PSG do it. I think they edge a goal in the first half with just overwhelming pressure. I think Inter Milan fight back for a 1-1 and then go with an extra time winner for PSG. I think Khvicha Kvaratskhelia will score that winner. I think he's been so important in this run into the final. So I'm going with a 2-1 PSG win here in the final. I think the firepower they've got will be too much for the Inter Milan backline to handle. Obviously, they've handled Barcelona, but it's a different beast. I think this front line for PSG, I know everyone's raving about Lamine Yamal and Rafinha, but we've got to focus on what Ousmane Dembele has done. 33 goals, 11 assists in all competitions this season. Khvicha Kvaratskhelia has been fantastic. 11 goals and 8 assists this season as well. And Desiree Doué, he ain't Lamine Yamal, but two-footed, tricky, can be the unknown, the X factor, the game breaker, the tiebreaker in many regards. He might be that, just a chance card, that joker card that PSG can throw in there, and just to offset this Inter Milan back line in this game here. Don't get me wrong, my heart wants Inter Milan to win. I love the way they go about it. I love what Inzaghi does. But I hope this PSG side is coming in with almost that youthfulness belief. They're lacking fear of losing. And when sides, lack fear and don't fear losing a game of football, that's often where they're the hardest to beat. I think the demons of the past will start to play with Inter Milan. They're going to be a little bit more slower on the ball. I think that will suit what PSG want to do. Again, they'll start with the energy. They'll start with the intensity. They'll nick a goal in the first half. And then, as we often see in Champions League finals, that first goal is so important for the rest of the game. The game grows on. Inter Milan pull one back, but in extra time, those younger legs show Khvicha Kvaratskhelia, for me, probably going to be the difference maker to score that winning goal. I think that's the way it goes. But again, there's not too much you can separate these two teams with. They have so much talent at both ends of the park. So much talent centrally. As I keep saying, probably 6 of the top 15, 20 midfielders in world football. Some great central midfielders for both these sides here. It's going to be a real battle. 2 of the top teams in Europe facing off in this massive Champions League final. Probably the closest 2 teams we've had in a few years. I'd say probably back to the Liverpool-Real Madrid finals. Because the last few years there's been a bit of discrepancy for me between the 2 sides going head-to-head. But look, cannot wait. Munich, what an occasion for it as well. A young side like PSG, an older side like Inter Milan. It's got all the story to be a great final. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Who do you think will win the Champions League final? Who deserves it? Let me know some of your key players as well. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comment section. If you enjoyed the video, guys, smash a like on it. Subscribe to the Players Zone channel for more videos and content coming up as we wrap up the end of the season and then into the off-season transfer news, reaction content will all come through that time of the year as well. If you know the video, guys, smash a like it, subscribe, comment, hit the post notification bell. All of it will be down there. Until next time, guys, enjoy the Champions League final, and I'll see you guys in the video very, very soon. Till next time. See you later.